What's up, Nick?
What up, brother? How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good, man. I'm up the street from you, bro.
Yeah, you're in La Mirada today.
Just a little bit. I'm gonna head down there after this.
Right on. Josh is gonna be here from like 10 to 1 today.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so he'll be around to go over some stuff.
So you're busy, I'll let you go, Eddie.
Okay. See ya.
Is Tina taking selfies over
What is it?
there? Is Tina taking selfies or what?
She just got off the phone with Lee Zeff.
Wait, what?
She just got off the phone with Lee.
Why? Oh, really? Why?
I don't know. I just called her.
That's random. He stepped away as the OP in Long Beach, so Rob is taking on the reins 100%.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yep. Just focusing on his business, you know.
I think what's happening, since it's only us two on here, that the investors right now also are getting more keen with the shift in the market, and they're like, well, we got to start looking at all our dialing in their situation too, right?
I think you're absolutely right.
Yeah. How's it over there in La Mirada?
Good, good. It's over here with
Oh, look at that.
What's going on, Scotty?
I recognize that turquoise Tiffany blue wall.
Yeah, how you been?
Good, man. Good to see you.
Good to see you too. Hopefully we'll make it in person soon.
Yeah, you gotta come swing by. Yeah,
I will. We'll set it up.
There's money in there for you, man. Yeah, no worries, dude. Right? All right, I'm going to put on mute real quick, just some people floating around. So I'll catch up with you. If I can stick around long enough, I'll catch up with you there.
Okay, cool. Sounds good.
All right, man.
All right. See you. Hey, Jennifer, how you doing?
Good morning. How are you?
Good. Good. Getting ready to start our morning here. We're gonna definitely give it a few more minutes here. Well, we're still at 4 minutes out, so we'll be fine. Let's see. Oh.
You start at 10, right?
Yeah.
So what time? What's up, brother?
What's up? How you doing?
What time do
See
you?
ya. I'll be done around 11:45. All right, guys, it's 10:01. We're gonna go ahead and get started. How are you doing today? How are you doing today, Bianca?
Good morning, doing all right. How are you?
Good, good. Everybody having hopefully are having a great week and getting to wrap it up. It's Thursday, which is always fun, right? Weekends coming around. Even though I mean, on a side note, I used to live for the weekends, but I really learned to live for the week as well, because I'm all like, I don't want to just have fun 2 days out of the week, right? So I do have to say I'm lucky. I get to like do certain things that I love, this being one of them, right? Connecting with just like other friends in the office and stuff like that. So even though the weekend's fun, I guess for me, it's more isolated time with the family. I do enjoy the weekdays. But anyway, I just felt like sharing that for some strange reason. I felt like I was going into one of those conversations like, yay, the weekend's here. But it's like, there's that mind shift that we can have of like, yay, the week is here too, right? And there's a lot of opportunity in that. So they don't want to discount it. Anyway, so today we're talking about seller appointments. We're gonna go ahead and get started. I know that there's not that many of us in here right now, but we're gonna go ahead and get things going. And in this section, we're gonna obviously focus on make seller listings, presentations, and get listings. So we're gonna cover a little bit of things. We're gonna go over where you guys essentially can find your materials. There's a lot of materials in here today, a lot of resources for you actually that you're going to be provided with, so that when you're ready to create certain things for your listing, whether it's your listing presentation, your pre-listing presentation, your pre-listing questionnaire, and things of that, anything essentially listing appointment will be covered in today's session. So stay tuned. There will be some things where we'll be in and out of different screens, but that's so we could show you kind of what's available for you. Cool. And today's timeline looks like we're going to discuss what sellers want, right? I think it's going to be important for us to like discuss that, because oftentimes we probably have an idea of what they want, but when we get to look at the stats, we get clarity, right? We could start maybe pivoting and shifting our efforts into where we're finding our sellers and how our sellers want to receive information, or really what they're looking for. Instead of like guessing, we'll go over some NAR stats to cover that. And then we'll go into before the appointment, certain things with prep, then the listing presentation itself. Then we'll go into the listing appointment, and then we'll just cover some ahas and wrap up our day. Okay. So let's go ahead and get moving on that. The first step is how sellers found their agent, right? I think this is a huge one here, that according to the research from NAR, 39% of sellers either knew their listing agent or were referred to their listing agent by a friend, neighbor, or relative. Okay. This is the highest percentage by far at 27% of buyers had used their listing agent previously to buy or sell a home. 5% chose their realtor, okay, after being personally contacted by them, okay, and then 4% found their agent through a website, and 3% found their agent by visiting an open house. The other 22% is made up by other methods like seeing a for sale sign, open house, referral through another agent, or employer direct mail, social media, etc. So you might think social media is one of those things that's on the top of the list. Granted, it's a very important thing in terms of you being present in the market, being present in your sphere, and just the people that know you. But obviously this is a very relationship-based business here, and you have the opportunity to see that just based on this chart, right? Your number one, referred by a friend, neighbor, or relative. Let me see here. We got somebody in the chat. Personal contact is cold call and door knocking. I'm not sure what that exactly means. A person, if somebody wants to unmute and clarify that.
Yeah, thanks, Eddie. Good morning. That was my question. I wanted to see if personal contact, meaning is that that 5%, is that contact that's initiated and relationships that are initiated on a cold call or cold introduction basis?
Oh, okay, I see. Yeah, so I do think that that's what it's referring to, like, more like face to face, right? Or direct. So I think it could fall under that 5%, where it says 5% choose a realtor after being personally contacted by them, right? So yeah, that would be door knocking. It could be cold calling as well, right? You're going out and essentially prospecting.
Thank you.
Yep. And here's the thing too, like, that's the power of the relationship, right? And that's why we build CRMs and we have campaigns to stay top of mind. It's not their responsibility to remember us. It's our responsibility for them not to forget who we are, right? So I think that goes a long way with friends, family members, and relatives, right? Otherwise, if we're not doing our part and making sure they remember us, then we're missing out on not just our business through them, but maybe through their sphere, right? Or their coworkers, or there's just so much that goes around. And it just comes down to solidify for me when I look at this, that, the relationship that's already established and how we communicate with that is far more the most important way to generate business. And it's the biggest percentage here, right? And how sellers actually found their agent. So it's important to be purposeful with that, right? But good question. Thanks for asking. The next thing here says that besides being a professional, right, friendly and likable, sellers have specific objectives. They want to know that you can help them achieve, right? 21% want help in marketing their home. 20% want to make sure that it sells in a certain time frame, and 19% want help pricing it competitively. At least that's what they say, right? Until you get on that on that listing table. And then 16% want advice on obviously improvements to improve the sales price, and 13% want help in finding a buyer, and only 11 stated that they want help with the paperwork, inspections, negotiations, etc. Okay, so just because they don't say at the beginning that they want your help with the paperwork negotiations doesn't mean they don't need your help, right? Remember that 7% of sellers use their realtor previously, right? So they have a good fiduciary relationship with that agent, and the total value you bring to the transaction is what will get you that repeat business. These things are important in terms of like your first impression, right? Like, and how you deliver all that and have that initial transaction, I think. So it's extremely important to see, what they want, right? And obviously marketing their home is by far the biggest here. I mean, not by far, because that's 21%. The other want help in, a specific time frame. So time and market, you know what I mean? Price comes in third. Help fix the home and sell it for more money, and help find a buyer, right? All those things are key, and how you take the approach, and that is also key. Also, sellers don't know what they want sometimes, right? But these are stats that are kind of taken, and when you can use these stats, you can go into a listing appointment knowing that, and if you just addressed it accordingly, like the way this list comes in, guess what? You're probably already answering questions that they had for you. And when you can answer someone's questions before they even ask it, guess where that leaves you? In a very good place, right? Because they're going to be like, oh man, this guy just like hit everything I was concerned about or thinking about, and completely answered it before I could even ask. And that just totally makes you look like a, like an awesome professional who just knows what they're doing. And I think that that's key. So use the data. These are NAR stats. So from 2019, but relatively that's not that old, right? And then the process for listings, right? We're looking over here at a little process. You got the pre-listing questionnaire. We got the next step, which is schedule the listing appointment. Then you got this other step here that I think is crucial. You know, if you take advantage of it, it really can change the game for you. And a lot of people don't do this, is send a pre-listing packet. Create a listing presentation, obviously, and then go through the home walkthrough and the listing appointment. So what do you know about the process of converting a lead to a listing? And what tools have you learned about and used? So let me repeat that for you guys again. What do you guys know about the process of converting a lead to a listing? And what tools have you used, right? Or have you learned about and used? Can somebody share?
Well, getting to know them through the forward script, what their priorities are, what their timelines are, that sort of thing. I assume that would fall under the pre-listing questionnaire.
Yep, absolutely. Those things would fall under there. Knowing they're finding out their motivation, right? And I think it was one of the nights where I did discuss like having somebody else even call on your pre-listing questionnaire, because they might be willing to open up to your, like, let's just say your assistant versus you, knowing they're going to be meeting with you to just kind of extract more of that, you know, information that's maybe underlining that there might not be as willing to tell you direct because you've built some rapport already versus them, you know, talking to your assistant. But yeah, those types of things really, really help. And then, so when you have a lead, right, that has expressed interest in selling their home, there are a few steps to take, right, and convert that lead into listings. Some of the steps are optional based on your personal style and how motivated the seller is to let you obviously list their home. But in general, you will follow these steps, right? And you're going to start with obviously the pre-listing questionnaire. Now, with the pre-listing questionnaire, you ask potential sellers the questionnaire questions to determine their expectations, motivations, and how they want to sell, right? Because different people have different ways of viewing things and how they want to go about it, right? You've got those that are out there that don't know anything and they just need your help completely. You got those that think that they know something. You got those that say, hey man, like, you know, I sell for a living, so I know how sales are and this is how I want things to go, right? There's so many different things that come along as if, you know, sales or sales, but no matter what you are, I think real estate definitely is, you know, is a little different animal than selling other products, but nonetheless, people that are in sales will want to impose their views on how to go about things. And that's just an example, right? So like finding out how people want to go about things, their expectations. And then you're going to schedule the listing appointment, right? After you understand how motivated the seller is, you're going to set a listing appointment. Then as we move into sending a pre-listing packet, you can send that via email, mail, or deliver the pre-listing packet to a packet to set the seller's expectations of the process, or how the conversation is set for, you know, is really set for them once they receive it, to kind of like help, I guess, get some of the questions out of the way that they might have ahead of time. That's going to ultimately make your listing presentation a lot more smoother, because when you can give them a process, right, and you're showing them kind of a guide and a few other things and how you're going to go about it, it's going to, one, provoke questions, two, it's going to answer some questions, and three, it's going to get them to kind of gain clarity in what they want out of the process. So when you sit with them, that listing presentation just goes a lot smoother, right? And then once you do that, we're going to go ahead and create the listing presentation, or get, you know, and the listing presentation is more detailed in terms of the plans to sell the home, obviously, and kind of how you can, you know, go about some of those questions that they end up having from the pre-listing packet, or even the pre-listing questionnaire. So essentially it all builds on top of each other, but once you get on the table with your listing presentation, it kind of brings it all together with clarity and more details. And obviously you're present at that point to work out the little things that they're probably, you know, just still waiting to work out. But do you see how you kind of like built that? How like you kind of like broke through one wall, then got to another, then got to another, then exposed them to a little bit more. Then they probably got more questions and you broke that next wall. And then, so you started building the relationship and you started adding more touches. These are also more touches, and the more touches you have also help you solidify that yes when you're on the table. And then last but not least, home walkthrough and listing appointment. At the listing appointment, you'll walk through the house, possibly present the listing presentation. Some people will probably just say, hey, let's go ahead and sign and secure the listing, which has happened, through enough rapport and just you kind of having these steps in order and executing. You've probably done more than most, 2-3 other listing agents that probably are out there prospecting their business, right? So you're already setting yourself apart, right? Good competition would be matching at minimum what this little system here looks like. Okay, so each step asserts your value proposition to the seller, brings them closer to signing with you. We looked briefly at the listing presentation and the Spark module, right? So in terms with working with sellers. And now we're going to take a deep dive into the listing appointment and the presentation moving forward. So before the listing appointment, right, there are some things here, right? And it's the pre-listing goals. Goals before the listing appointment. 1, you want to state your value, right? Tell the seller what you bring. 2, you want to have the pre-listing, build confidence and answer questions. And then 3, you want to save time, answer objections up front, right? So that once you've pre-qualified the seller and scheduled the listing appointment, you'll send the pre-listing packet, right? As we discussed, you will find a pre-listing packet in your Ignite toolkit. I don't know if you guys have that handy with you right now or not, but if not, I'll post it up in a bit here. And you can customize that one, and it's a great place to start. So don't reinvent the wheel. You guys have so much resources, and you can start with this one for sure, right? And people will take maybe this basic one. I know a lot of people like to take plants because plants is something that people will leave on their dining table. So it's just a reminder between the time they receive that and you have your appointment, and well after you have that appointment, to stay top of mind. And who knows, it's just something that could stick around, especially for those that like plants, right? So it's a nice gesture. It does change the game a little bit, but you do want to, it's a good problem to have when you're like, man, am I spending so much money on my pre-listing packet? Because I know some people have that problem. Like, hey, it's a great problem to have if you're going on that many listings that, you're counting how much it's costing you for every pre-listing packet you're sending out. But nonetheless, some people get pretty extravagant. Some people put them in nice boxes, wrapped up with the plant, hand delivered. There's so many ways to go about it. It's just, what's the wow factor that you want to bring to your business, right? And you can create your own, obviously, with that, but you at least have a base to start on. And once you're comfortable, you can even have the conversation with the seller about topics in the pre-listing packet. Understand that the goals of the pre-listing packet and meet them in a way that works best for you, right? So, yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry. Can you repeat that so we can fill up the blanks on the listing goals? The state, those 3 questions, like tell the seller. I don't know if you have the same thing, but there's 3 little blank lines in here that we need to fill in. I missed that.
The tell the seller what you bring.
Is that what it is? What you
For
bring?
one, state your value, right? It's are you looking at the slide? Do you see the slide?
State your value. Oh, okay. Okay. I see it now. Thank you.
I don't know if that's it or not. Is that what you're looking for?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yes. Let me see.
All right.
Perfect.
Perfect. Okay, cool. Okay, so there, the pre-listing packet has 3 critical roles, right? State your value, which we're about to go into a little deeper here, right? And that is, it states the value that you will provide as their listing agent. Remember that the sellers have specific goals. they want to achieve. And this is the first step in discovering their goal and telling them how you will help them achieve their goal, right? Or goals, okay? And it builds sellers' confidence and answers questions in advance of the presentation. Sellers use an agent because they want advice, they want expertise, make them feel like they better understand the process, right, as an important part of your value proposition. Super key. And at the end of the day, everybody wants to save time, right? So the pre-listing packet tackles common obstacles to make the consultation shorter and smoother. Now, what are the three biggest questions? What are the biggest questions anyone, right, about to sell their home will ask?
How much can you get for my place? How soon can you sell it?
Yep.
Commission.
Commission. Yep. House. Exactly. All those things, right? Answers are going to vary, right? And the idea is when you come with all these different, you know, when you come with a value proposition and you have these packets and answers and you're sending them all these things, it starts to, you know, give them clarity, a lot more clarity around what that looks like. So you're not coming in and they're not just being kind of jolted by like, well, you know, why is it this way or that way? You've kind of already broke the ice. And, you know, what objections do you imagine that you'll encounter, right? It's probably the same stuff: pricing, timeline, closing costs, commission, etc., right? So those are the, you know, that's the pre-listing goals right there. I mean, just think about that. You're not even at the table yet, right? And you're kind of already addressing a few things, sending these packets. So in this case here, it says, you know, there's a pre-listing packet that they want us to share with you here. So I'm going to go ahead and do that right now. Okay. Let me just go ahead and move this over here. Let me go ahead and do a stop share real quick. Hey, we got some more people in here. How's it going, everybody? Sorry, when I'm like in presentation view, like I don't get to see all the tiles until I pull out of the presentation view here. But let me go ahead and share. Let me pull this up first. Let's go to our toolkit. Populate this. All right, so we're gonna go over a couple things all at once, which is a little different than like the way this is set up because I don't want to go in and out of the slides too much here. But I'm gonna go ahead and start with our pre-listing presentation here. All right, let me go back to sharing. Okay, so let me see if I can make this smaller. There you go. All right, so this is in your Ignite toolkit, right? This Ignite toolkit allows you to go in. This seller guide here is actually in Word, so you guys can go ahead and customize this. Put your name, you can put your client's name in here, right? And let's just go over a little bit, just skim through it and see what it looks like. You got a little cover page here. Maybe you can add a little photo. You can do whatever you need to on that front page. You have, it's all about you, right? Like take the time to understand your wants and needs, answer your questions. You know, this is how you'll help them. So again, just coming from value, right? Getting ready to list, right? 5 factors affecting the value of your property. Now you're already telling them, hey, we're going to discuss, you know, price, not because I said that this is what your home is worth, because this is what the market's telling us your home is worth, right? Location, okay? We're talking about location now. Condition, okay? There's all these other perspectives, right? Timing. So you're already taking the 5 factors and you're putting them up front, right? Getting ready to sell your home, right? You want to be 10% above where you get less people looking? You want to be at market value, or do you want to be 10% below and get 75% of the people on the market to actually look and view your home? And guess what? Pricing is just a strategy, right? So that's, you know, you help them understand that with what this here provides, right? Getting ready to sell, and you're addressing price. Condition goes deeper into condition, okay? Staging makes a difference. Absolutely. Right now, I'll tell you guys, as I talk to more and more agents every day and in coaching and handling, dealing with different files, staging has been one of the difference makers right now in terms of getting the listing versus other people, right? Other agents that are out there. Not everybody's offering it, but staging the property changes the game. You don't have to, but if you're competing for a listing, it could be that one thing that sets you apart. Okay.
Eddie, in regards to staging, if you've got the listing, can you comment about the bearing it has on getting bids and offers in a hot market? Because, you know, you're going to get lots of bids today in general. But
Well,
does it make them bigger and more of them?
well, surprisingly, is it safe to say that 100% of the homes on the market are selling? It might seem like it, but the reality is it's not 100, right? There are properties that aren't. I had a agent that I coach who took a listing from an agent who had listed that property for several months, couldn't get it sold. And the property looked dated, it had some things that was going on with it. And obviously the perception or the condition of that property, for whatever reason, you know, did not help it sell in the market the first time around. They went in, he came in, he says, look, I'm gonna stage this property for you. And we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that. Came in, staged it, and had over 30 offers and got 50,000 above asking after a second round of being on the market. I mean, for me, I'm just like, okay, it's a seller's market. It's hot. Like, why would you even need to do anything, right? Like, automatically we'll go into that. But the reality is there's certain things that obviously will help market the property. And that's what can make the difference, especially when your property is being syndicated across thousands of websites, and photos are the number one way that people find, you know, that people actually it's the number one marketing method, right, in terms of capturing people's eyes and getting their attention on that in the properties. It's photos by far wins, right? So if you have well staged great photos, right, a home, you're just gonna attract more people, and that's what we want to do, right? It's not just about selling the home. We're definitely going to sell it, but like, we want to attract as many people as possible, right, to actually get that home listed and to get it listed and sold for top dollar for the clients. And when we can get more people to look at it, then we're going to increase our chances and the probability of us creating a bidding scenario, especially after it's been on the market before, right? So I don't know if that answers your question.
Yes, thank you very
But
much.
it could be huge, because the reality is, yeah, there's a lot of competition out there, and not all homes are selling, and some people are overpricing. Some people are, you know, don't understand that the condition really plays a major role. So this discusses that for them. And then you got some questions, right? You had your questionnaire before this goes out, right? But at the same time, you got questions over here, right? Like, how would you like to be communicated with? This is a very valid question. Some people don't want to be called 5 times a week. Some people just want to be called once a week or when there's updates. Don't, you know, other than that, don't call me, don't bother me, right? Some people prefer text. Some people want email, right? So this just sets you apart from just being, you know, the agent and then being the professional agent, right? How frequently would you like an update on the market, right? How frequently would you like an update on showings? Those of you that got assistants, if you do, I have my assistant contact, you know, give them a Monday and a Friday report. That's just kind of the way I do things. Weekends are pretty active, certain things, but during the week, I don't want them thinking we're not doing anything, right? So during the week, I give them a report. Hey, this is how many views we have as of today on, you know, you know, on Redfin, and this is how many views we got on Zillow, this is how many reviews we got on realtor.com, this is how many people contacted us, this is how many impressions we got on our Facebook ad. So I just send them a report like, this is what we're doing. Oh, by the way, we sent 350 texts to your closest neighbors, right? I've done that once. Client called me, she's like, yeah, my neighbor came talk to me, she told me she received a text on the property. I'm like, great. You know, that just made me feel even better, because think about it. Their neighbors coming to them saying, I got a direct text with all the photos and a complete essentially landing page on the property, right? And they came to show my client what they're receiving, right? And to me, that was just obviously made me look good, right? And that's, you know, that's essentially as a professional what you want. You want your product and to end up, you know, to be visible to your client in such a way that they look back and say, wow, we made the right decision with this agent. They're really going to work. So we're not leaving, you know, things open for long periods of time. They're seeing things happen in the background. I think that's important. Then you can have about me, right? Like, what's your unique value proposition? Like, I think that's super, super key. Like, what separates you from everybody else? Is it your expertise on the market, right? Is it that you specialize in investing, right? I mean, whatever it is, right? To put that out there, I think it's cool, because if we can start identifying who our target market is, who our customer is, what they look like, who they are, where they hang out, right? Now we have a business that's very purposeful and targeted in such a way that we could actually gauge where we're moving, right? Versus kind of just thinking we're a generic, you know, we have like a kind of like a generic setup that works with anyone. Sure, the platform or whatever we build in terms of our value proposition can apply to, you know, your average buyer and seller, but where are you targeting, and are you meeting people where they're at in terms of who your ideal customer base would be, right? I think that's important to identify, because then your value proposition can match that. And now you're just kind of more purposeful in terms of how you're building your business, not from now, but 6 months from now, 1 year from now, right? 2 years from now. Just think about what that looks like if you just said, okay, I'm going to work four unit properties only in Long Beach, right? If you start that today and you focused on that for the next 2 years, what do you think your business will look like, right? Where are the fourplex? Where are the 4 unit owners at? Are they out of state? How am I communicating with them? Why are they using me? What kind of value am I providing them? What kind, you know, am I sending postcards? Am I sending them, you know, rental rate comparables versus just sales in the area? Like, how do I build that, right? Once you start doing that, you can start to build something super, super cool. And at the end of the day, like, under promising and over deliver is probably something that people have heard many, many times. And it's, you know, something that probably sounds cliche, but, you know, people remember how you make them feel, and people feel good when you can go above and beyond and far exceed your expectations. So take a look at what you do now, what you set up, and what value you bring today, and then deliver that. But then how do you outdo yourself in that, right? And that will change the game for you. All right, sorry, I know I'm going a little into like little side tangents over here.
Eddie, I
Yeah.
have a question.
Sure.
So you told me, you told everybody that you text neighbors regarding sales of the property. What kind of app, or what do you guys use to text out the neighbors?
I used Clicks Media. I think CLIXM Media, so MEDIA.
Okay.
Yeah. You're in, are you in Long Beach?
Me? Yes, I'm Long Beach Pacific Estate.
Okay, so you guys have Nelson Torres over there as your new title rep, right?
Yes.
Okay, so Nelson Torres will set you up with that.
Okay. Thank you.
Talk to him about Clicks Media. He's the one that provided that for me in my last listing, and it helps. It's super easy to use. I forgot the cost of it, but you know, you pay a little bit, but it goes a long way. And it sends the obviously the link that you're sending out, it's got a nice presentation. It works pretty well. Check it out. To me, I think, text messages is the number one way for people that I've been like actually in my community or people that I'm doing business with. That's how they like to communicate. So I use text a lot more than anything these days, more than even phone calls, because that's just where they're at, right? But depends. Some people still like the calls. Again, things like this help you identify how people want to be communicated, right? All right, so let me go ahead and click out of this. Okay. And then you have your pre-listing questionnaire. What? Windows cannot complete extraction. Okay. Anyway, let me see if I have that up somewhere else here. Hold on. All right. Here we go. Do you guys see the pre-listing questionnaire?
Yeah.
All right, cool. So this is another way for you guys to also keep track of your clients. It's got basic info, right? You got great questions. How did you hear about me? Where are you moving? What's motivating you to move there? How soon do you have to be there? If we sell your home in the next 30 days, will that impose a problem for you? If yes, what would that be? What would happen if your home didn't sell? How much do you want to list your home for? How much you owe on the property? I'll be sending you a packet of information. It'll take you a few minutes to review before we meet. Do you have any questions before we meet? Will all the decision makers be there when we meet? I think that's so key. Don't ever go on listing appointments if all the decision makers aren't there. Okay, guys. And then of course you got your just so you know, our meeting will take 1 hour and 30 minutes. Is that okay with you? I look forward to meeting you on blah blah blah, right? So this again is in your Ignite toolkit. Take advantage of it. Super cool. Don't reinvent the wheel. You guys have this stuff, and this is in Word. This is a PDF, but you can open up a PDF like I do have the free version of Adobe. And if you go to, let's see here, fill and sign, and then you click fill and sign now. Guess what? I could go ahead and start filling this out. I don't know if you guys like to do things like that. I'm cool with handwriting things in, but for some reason, I do like typing things in as well. I think it looks cleaner, especially if you have a team or you're working with somebody. It just makes things more legible and clear. Anyway, just thought I'd share that little bit with you guys here on that. A lot of the functions don't work because it's a free thing, but the fill and sign button does, in terms of adding a check mark, an X, or a line, or a dot, or even sign. You can drop a signature somewhere too. Okay. All right, let's get back to our slides here. All right, where are we? Okay, so the next thing we're gonna presentation here. Do you guys, does it show the listing presentation slide or no?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Sorry, sometimes I think it freezes up or takes off on me. Okay, so with the pre-listing presentation, this is something that you guys all have. It's also in your command, right? So actually, there is one more thing. We're out of my slides, and let me just do that for you now. Open up command here. All right, move this in here. So if you go to your command, you go to designs. What's happening? Hold on, this thing is doing things here. 1 second. It's telling me it's not responding. Let me give it a second to unlock itself. Let me see if this works. I think it's working anyway. So do you guys see my design templates here? It says listing presentation, and it's got like 5 different presentations.
Yes.
Okay, cool. So when you go to command, you can go to your designs tab, which is on the left. And what's cool is not only do you have so many designs there, but you also have all your listing packets here. You got several different versions of it, right? Totally customizable. You can go in and do that. You could set things up. And what's super cool about this whole thing too is you can create your own brand palette. They're getting like super cool with this because people never really knew what brand palettes were, and now it's becoming more of a thing. And brand palette is essentially, you know, a place where you have your logo, a place where you have consistent colors, right, that reflect your logo or your brand colors, and making sure that those colors are always the same, right? So when you have a specific font, color, logo, all that stuff, you can build a palette, and once your palette is built, it can start applying to other things that you have in your system, right? So obviously I don't have mine set up here, right? Because I'm not in command as much, but you can go in here and create, you know, your palette with your own designs, stuff like that, or take, if you had somebody design something for you, hey, like, hey, what's my color palette? What's this? Can you give me that information? Save it in here so that if you were to take a listing and you were going to do, let's say, a coming soon, you can go ahead and apply your brand palette to any of these things here, right? Same for sale. And you can get these built for social media. You got door hangers, you got bifolds, trifolds, you've got postcards. There's all kinds of things. But back to the listing presentation, you know, you can choose your listing presentation. Go to use, right? Come on. Of course. Anyway, so, all right, where is it? Okay, it's the listings. Let's go to use. I don't know why that one's not pulling up. But anyway, your listing presentations are in here. Mine's right now is like, obviously it's a little finicky. It is what it is. But you know, you can go in there and design your listing presentations amongst a bunch of other things. Here we go. It's popping up, populating now. And your listing presentation is super cool. Like you could take this, you have your, obviously your front cover, you got instructions, you can put your client name in here, right? You have the property address, Barton Hills. You can use your app, kind of show it, like update like what's kind of available, what's populating in your area. From there, you can put some comparable
Hello?
I think we all got disconnected, or he did.
Yeah, he's
Yeah, he
out.
did. He'll be back.
Can I ask you guys a question? I came in late. Where did they say that the Ignite was, where we can find the Ignite stuff? Does
Go
anybody
to-
know?
Yeah, go to kpwe.rocks
Yes.
and then go to dashboard.
Okay.
And then you'll see on the middle right, you'll see Ignite toolkit.
Okay.
everyone. I want
Oh, sorry. Yes, I see it.
Okay, it's in there, I believe.
It just comes out blank for me. It's been like that, so I
Are
don't
you
know.
looking for forms or additional videos? Because if you're looking under forms, it's under KW Connect.
I'm looking for the listing where he said that the pre, what is it, the pre questionnaires?
Okay, so those are in the, if you go to KW Connect, and then you go under the I think it's the learning, it's
Education,
Yeah,
education.
and then
Yep.
under Keller Williams University, there's Ignite 2.0, and
Oh,
then there
yes.
it has all the forms.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. Hey, guys, I'm back. Sorry, I dropped off for whatever reason, but I'm back. Thanks, Tiffany.
Absolutely.
Yeah, if you need help finding that, let me host disable sharing. Okay, that's not cool. Nick, are you still there? Sorry, I'm in like one of the market centers is. Does anybody here have host capability? Navy, was that you last time?
Me, no.
Who was it that had host capability that opened it
Drea
up?
last time, but she's not here. It looks like Jennifer's host.
Jennifer. You there?
Yeah, hold on a second.
I think this is La Mirada Zoom. Okay, I think I can share now. Yes, cool, thank you.
Mhm.
Yeah, so you can go to MyKW, go to education, click the Ignite 2.0, it's got the little labs dog on it, and then it'll take you to this page here. Click on materials. And here you have the Ignite toolkit. It's a zip file that you can keep for all your Ignite classes. It'll have certain things that pertain and stuff like that. So download that zip and you guys will find all the tools that you need, whether it's the script books and stuff like that, okay? All right, let me get back to slides here. I don't know why that happened, but anyway, things happen. All right, let me get us back to where we were. What class is this? Setting goals that matter. That's not what we're on. Okay, here we go. All right. So there you go. That's where you can find your listing presentation as well. So Command has it all. It's customizable. Run with it. Okay. And here it says, why is the listing presentation included, or why is this page of the listing presentation included? It's important because at the end of the day, the real estate business is a relationship business, right? This is part of your listing presentation and it's about the relationship. It's important. Doing this piece right will go a very long way in terms of earning their current and future business. When we present your listing presentation, get ready to take notes and listen, okay? Now, Here, they want us to role play the listing presentation. We're not going to do that today. We can, we just went over the listing presentation. I think everybody has different ones that they might currently be using or being trained on, or you're using these already, right? But there are things that is in there that I'll give you guys the opportunity for you guys to practice and again, get with somebody in your market center for the sake of time and go through the full listing presentation. Here in Cerritos, we from time to time would have listing and role play. I'm not sure if your market centers have that. If you don't, take initiative, be the first one to do that. It'll go a long way, trust me. Where we would sit face to face with other agents and we would obviously set up, one is the seller, the other is the agent, and we would do live listing presentations, and we would have an audience, which obviously would be a bunch of other realtors watching you present your listing presentation. And it's extremely uncomfortable at first, but if you can do it in front of your peers with people who kind of can anticipate where you need to go, what you need to say, you'll be able to do it in front of clients without a problem. I promise you that. It's by far harder in front of people that right? But allowing yourself to be vulnerable and like just taking that action and practicing it week over week, trust me, people will start to, participate with you in that. And in the sense that you actually will start building up a level of skill, confidence, and guess what? You get to learn from other people doing it as well. So you can find more tools to put in your tool shed, right? Because everybody has a different style of doing things and there's no right or wrong way to do it. But there's a lot of super cool things that I pulled out for myself from watching other people do their listing presentation. And you just don't know what's going to be available for you taking that on. So I highly encourage it. If you guys don't have listing and role play classes, go ahead and find somebody, be the first one, even if it starts with 2 or 3 people. We've gotten it to where we would have a room packed with like 15, 20 people, right? And it would get interesting because they knew who was going to present that day. And, when you've got your top listing agent in your office presenting in front of everybody else, I think that there's also something to learn from that, right? Especially if they're just handling 2-3 listings a week, they're doing big things, right? Why wouldn't you want to learn from that? And even if you're not doing any deals, the fact that you're coming in and you're putting in the work, to me, that's just as good, because at the end of the day, that's what it takes. You got to start somewhere, right? So do that. Your toolkit also has objection handlers. We could do that as well. I don't want to like log out and log in and like have this thing crash. But if you go into your Ignite toolkit, there are seller objections that are in there that you guys can practice as well. I would take that and also just kind of go over it. Now the home walkthrough, right? I think this is where we're going into next. So when you arrive to a potential seller's home, it's important to establish yourself as a knowledgeable professional right away. Greet your potential clients, right? Thank them for the opportunity and ask them if you can leave your things in the kitchen while you conduct the home walkthrough or on the table. Why do you think we suggest that you leave your things in the kitchen?
Because it's a focal point of most home sales.
Right. They're essentially letting you into the heart of their home, right? That's where things are. Kitchen, dining table, that whole little area. It's a great place. The table provides a great space to talk. It's more familiar and intimate than the living room and sitting room area. And you're asking to let them in, essentially, which is probably one of the more important parts of the home, right? So your home, so you're in your home, so you're doing a walkthrough and you're going to further I'm sorry, hold on. I'm losing my space here, what they're asking me to do. All right, so your home walkthrough is going to further inform what you'll write for your listing information, right? So your marketing plan and your pricing strategy conversation. If at all possible, ask to do the walkthrough alone, right? it's best to come to your own conclusions without the home's owner's narration running through your mind. True. Oftentimes, everybody wants to sit there and they want to point out what's great, what's special, what they did to the home, what they didn't. And if you can get a glimpse of the property and just do your walkthrough, right, and kind of come to your own conclusions, you're going to come from a more, I guess, more of that term that we use, like looking at the home through the eyes of a buyer, right? You just don't want to be clouded with all these other things that's going to sway where your like intuition is telling you things need to be, you know, maybe adjusted, right? Things like decluttering or depersonalizing, right? Or giving something more value than it needs because they did something to it. So it's very important that if you can, get it done on their own and then take charge, right? People hire you and tell you to come to their home as an agent, right? And give you that opportunity because they want someone's going to take charge. So if you come in, you put your stuff down on the kitchen table, you pop out an iPad, you start taking pictures and marking up your iPad on that picture and certain things you want to adjust, guess what? They're going to be like, wow, this person's moving, right? They want you to take control, right? So consider that. I think that's one of the things. Some people come in very timid in this process. I think you need to come in there with some confidence, come in there ready to put in some work and get in there, you know, showing them that you're there to get to work, right? And I think when you come in and you start taking charge like that, you'll, you know, it sets the tone, right? And then you're gonna obviously, it says here, take a moment to look at the home walkthrough survey in your toolkit and see if you have any questions. So you have a survey in your toolkit as well, right? Go in there, see what's, you know, follow that, see what's there, check it out. Might bring some things to your attention, their attention. And, you know, again, it goes a long way for you to just kind of like go through a front to back end, you know, checklist or system and what they need to do. I have a walkthrough checklist, so I don't forget things. I'll just go down, I'll check things, paint, eaves, gutter, backyard, kitchen, right? Look at the bedrooms, carpet, decluttering, depersonalizing, all that stuff. By the time you're done, right, you got a system that you're following, and that system is a recipe for success. That's why you're following it, right? And when you stay true to that, I do think it does set you apart again, because you're not leaving anything on the table. You're not just going off the top of your head. It shows that you've got a process, and that process is what separates you from the rest, right? Awesome. There is another role play for closing the deal. Again, role plays are in there. I mean, how do you guys feel? Do you want me to go into some of the role plays? Are you guys open to role playing right now?
Yeah.
All right, let's see what we got here. It says it wants us to break into groups, but I'm not going to risk that happening right now and crashing on us. So let me go ahead and open up.
Before
Yeah.
you guys go into that, I am having such a hard time getting that pre-listing questionnaire. I keep on going into the Ignite toolkits and it has Canada information, and I'm kind of lost.
Okay, no worries. Let me share my screen here, and let me go from the beginning for you. Do you see all right, let me do this. So I'm gonna go to my KW.
Uh-huh.
You're gonna go into the intranet. Do you see this page?
Yes.
Fantastic. Then you're gonna go to education,
Uh-huh.
and then there's Ignite 2.0 lab. Do you see that?
Yes.
Click on it.
Oh, I was going into the other one. I got it now. The Ignite toolkit,
And then,
right?
yeah, and then go to materials. No worries.
Okay.
And then if you go down to the left, this is where all your participant guides are. If you ever want my material, this is where all my material is. the facilitator guides and all that,
You watch TV.
and the PowerPoints. And then once you download the zip file, you can open it. It'll download. And then you go to Ignite Toolkit, and then there you are. This is all your Ignite stuff here. You got your 66-day challenge calendar, you got your 411 templates, your buyer leads, your walkthrough room survey. Let's look at that. You got your room survey, flooring, tile, marble, travertine, vinyl, single story, double story, moldings, drapes, shades, blinds, ceiling fans, bookshelves. Mine's a little different. Like, this is cool because it's like by room, but mine's more like, you know, check the eaves, the backyards, decluttering, you know, like it's got quite a few things in there. But this is still cool, right? You still get some details of the room. Okay. Let's go ahead and go into our script book. So you have an Elements and you have a Spark script book. And right now we're in Elements, right? So the different ones that they wanted us to actually go over was role model, closing the deal, right? And then handle the objections, and then the listing presentation. So we'll do a little bit of that and then we'll wrap up for today. Let's start with seller objections, page 10. Okay. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to do some seller objections here. We need an agent with more experience. Okay. And then we'll have somebody go ahead and read this section here. Who wants to read seller objection 1?
I'll read it.
Go ahead.
Seller objection number 1, we need an agent with more experience. KW Pacific Estates is different. I'm a partner with others in my office, so I have lots of motivated agents with many years of experience working for you. Is there anything another agent said they would do that for some reason I forgot to mention? Did I cover everything you expected to hear? Sounds like you believe I could get your home sold, so let's move ahead now.
Okay. Cool. So when, you know, so again, these are just great rebuttals, right, to the question. All right, let's go to objection number 2. We need to think it over. Who wants to go next? Thanks for sharing.
I'll read it.
Okay.
All right, so sell objection number 2, we need to think it over. I hear you saying you want to be confident. If you're 100% confident in me, you wouldn't bring this up. If you knew I was going to do everything possible, you'd sign. The truth is you can never know that. Let's sign the agreement and know that you can cancel with me anytime you are not satisfied.
What kind of mindset do you think you got to be in to say, if you were 100% confident in me, you wouldn't bring this up? Would you guys say that?
Not yet, but I hope to.
Right? And why I bring that up is because you really want to ask yourself, like, who are you being?
Right.
Who are you being when you're walking in these they're human beings, right? They're just people. And are you being the agent that's in the world of consideration of, like, I'm new, they don't know that I probably don't know everything I need to know, you know, or I haven't done this enough, or you have that reoccurring dialogue that just some of us just, you know, unfortunately keep dealing with. like I'm just not good enough or whatever it is, right? It doesn't even have to be in real estate, right? There's certain things that drive us. And I just want you guys to know that whatever is driving you there is not you. Okay. It's just this machine that keeps running that's trying to protect you. And the more that you practice these, the more that you position yourself in the seat, right? And the more that you go after it, it'll quiet that down, right? And it ultimately comes down to like, who are you being? And when they say like that whole be, do, have, it's huge, right? What do you do before you go into a listing presentation? How do you psych yourself out? How do you get yourself in a place where you're just like, you know, in these affirmations that pump you up, that get you in there ready to make it happen? You've all been in the zone somewhere doing something before. So you know what I'm talking about, right? When you just feel that you're on it, you're clear, you're sharp, you know what you got to say. Like, how do you get there before you go to a listing presentation? Because if you can start practicing in who you're being and walk in and say something like, you know, if you're 100% confident in me, you wouldn't be bringing this up, right? That's going to change the dynamic or the language pattern that they probably wouldn't expect to hear. And when you can come from a place that people aren't expecting to hear, they're listening a little bit more closely now. You got their attention. Once you got their attention is what you want to do, because from there is where you get the attention, and then you can go for the close, and you can actually, you know, be where they're at. You're meeting them where they're at, right? Because oftentimes people will just hear things, but, you know, try it with somebody that you know, right? How many times do we conversate with each other or friends or family, and, you know, people are kind of there, but they're not there, right? Say something really authentic, and trust me, their ears will perk up. They'll be like, what? You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, like now that I got your attention, like, let's go ahead and, like, you know, let's see what this looks like. So who you're being goes a long way. And that just comes bottom line with integrity, right? Integrity to your word, doing what you say you're going to do. And I think when you do that, and you do things even though you don't feel like doing it, but you do it anyway, I think that's where you start to quiet those little voices in your head that try to kind of protect you and keep you down. But anyway, that's a little side piece, a little bit mindset there, but let's go to seller objection 3. Another agent will charge less. Who wants to read that?
I'll read it.
Okay.
Let's say your boss came to you and said, I want you to do the same job for less, and you'll have to work harder. Would you be motivated? No. Well, that's like me. I'll work hard for you. That's what you want, isn't it? You want the most money possible, right? Agents who just discount their commission will offer the buyer's agent less. I'm sorry, somebody's calling me. Hold on one second. How do you? Sorry.
You're good.
Where am I? Agents who discount their commission will offer the buyer's agent less money too. You want to give the biggest incentive possible to the buyer's agent, so they bring the buyers to us, don't you?
So, you know, there's that, right? And there's also the opportunity to take people back to their motivation, right? Even when it comes to reducing your commission. Well, look, I know what it's going to take to get you closer and get you where you want to go, right? You want to be closer to your grandkids and your kids in Washington. Fantastic. I'm here to help you make that happen, right? And you know, you can address all the other things around commission, but you want to close it back out with like something that they're attached to, right? So you always want to like always take these objections, and then you want to go to, you know, go to motivation. So oftentimes you also want to learn some techniques, right? Some of you read things in different patterns, but I would encourage you guys to read it in such a way that, you know, obviously these are probably the first time you read this. So after you go through it a couple times, there's certain things with downswings, right? Downswings anchor things, right? upswings give you doubt. Like you do want to sell your home, right? Like to me, that's just like putting doubt in their mind through a language pattern. Or when you're ready to sell your home, embedded command, sell your home, right? Downswing, you're anchoring, right? And when you anchor, it just makes things more concrete. It's not putting such doubt. Another thing when it comes to objections, isolate, right? So why don't you reduce your commission? Well, thank you, Mr. Seller. So what I hear you saying is you want me to reduce my commission, correct? Great. Other than that, is there anything else? When I say other than that, is there anything else? What do I mean by that? What am I doing there?
You're reducing it to one issue.
That's right. I'm isolating the objection. I want to know if there's anything else. I don't want to tiptoe into the next problem and the next problem. Other than that, is there anything else? And then once they say no, great. I'll address the objection with one of my objection handlers. And then I'll be like, look, with that said, let's go ahead. Let's get you ready. Let's get your home on the market. Let's get you closer to your grandkids and your kids in Washington. And you slide over a pen, right? And you just let the silence do its piece, do its part, which goes a long way. Sometimes we will talk ourselves out of a listing. It happens more often than you think. Cool. All right. So you got pricing objections in here, guys. You've got staging objections. So if you've got a lot of cool things in here. So, you know, take the time to go over this. And, you know, I give you guys the permission to go out and mess up, you know, because it's the only way you're going to learn. Get vulnerable, practice on each other, set up a listing role play, set up an objection role play with people in your office. Make it a thing. I think that it goes a long way. It's only going to make you better, and it's going to make you more confident when you're going in there, you know, in those listing presentations and letting your buyers know why they should be working with the best agent in town. Cool.
Thank you, Eddie.
Yep. Any ahas? Let's share some ahas before we wrap up today.
I like discovering the wealth of scripts, and it's more than just get the appointment scripts, but it's going deeper, and I'm glad to have that.
Awesome. I'm glad you guys were up for it too. Cool. Anything else? Any other ahas?
I like leaving my stuff in the kitchen while doing the walkthrough.
Yeah. Leave your stuff in the kitchen, show up, start taking pictures, ask them questions as you're walking. You know, obviously ask permission, but then like just get to it, you know, take control in that moment. I think it sets the tone that they're working with somebody who's on it and who's about their business. Also, do what makes you comfortable, you know, regardless of what I say too, and whatever anybody ever tells you or what you study. Like, I do believe that we all have different styles of doing business. So do what's in alignment for you. But there are things that that does demonstrate to the client certain things that they want, that they don't know that they want. But when you're out there doing it, it shows initiative, and it shows that you're a true professional, right? And I think that when they're inviting you into their homes, obviously because they're saying, hey, I need help, right? So if they're saying, hey, I need help, then guess what? You're going to be the one that gets in there and helps them. So for you to take control in that opportunity, once they let you in through the doors, I think is completely acceptable. Obviously ask permission. Okay, are you okay with me just putting my stuff down here and taking a quick look at the home? Great. Let me go ahead and do that. And then, you know, if you can obviously, hey, you know what? I'd love to look at this home. I want to look at it through the eyes of a buyer. Would you mind if I go about looking at that alone? Yes, no, whatever it is, great, not a problem. You want to come along with me? Let's go ahead and take a look, start taking pictures, ask your questions if you need to, you know, write down your notes, whatever it is, just let them know that you're taking control of the situation. And I think that's what ultimately they want when they're inviting you in their home, right? Someone to help them get where they need to go. So in closing, if there's nothing else, we're good. And you guys are on for tomorrow. And we'll see you guys next time.
Thank you, everybody. Thanks, Eddie.
Thank you. Bye-bye.